Hey everyone, this is Anna here. I just wanted to test my camera on my phone. I got a new phone, so with that, my mic doesn't work anymore because, as you know, with iPhones, they keep changing the plug. Um, so I need to buy a new mic system there. So this, I don't know how the sound is gonna be, but yeah, I'm basically testing a new way that I'm streaming so that I have my PC over here and hopefully I'll be able to see any chats, live chats. So I'm gonna move my phone down so you can see I'm just throwing some mugs today, some porcelain mugs. Later on, I'm going to trim some of them that I did yesterday. I made some mugs yesterday, and then I'll be altering and adding some sculpted birds. And this is my mascot over here, Morgan. She follows me around everywhere. So let me bring the camera down, and you're welcome to say hi or anything like that. So I need to test to see if this works on my PC. So let me move the camera down. Yeah, in the past I had just my iPhone. So as you know, if I bring my iPhone down, the camera down, I can't really see. So this is, let me weight this. I usually like to do with porcelain mugs about 1.4 pounds or 1.5 pounds, something like that, because porcelain shrinks a lot more than stoneware. So let me weight that. Yeah, so this one is 1.5 pounds here of porcelain frost, and it's pretty cold. So what I do is I put some warm water to throw, and let me know if the lighting is good. I'm just gonna wet these a little bit. And I'm wearing my brace today because my hands, with the cold weather, it's painful sometimes. Not so much in the summer, but I think the cold weather affects things. So let me know if you have any questions. I am planning on doing more lives because it takes me less time there's no editing. Sometimes it takes a while to edit things. So with this, all I need to do is change the thumbnail and the video stays for replay. And the warm water feels so good. And yesterday, I'm in my sunroom right now. We have heater here, but the heater is right here to my right, and it blows on my face. So what I did is I bought, let's see if this is center. I bought a little space heater that is very quiet. It is on right now, so I can't hear anything. So it does work so much better than this one here, the big one that is right on my side and is loud. So what I do when I'm throwing, I turn the little heater here on this side of me, on my left. And then I turn the other one off. Well, what happened yesterday, I was throwing here until late. Until I usually try to throw until it starts getting dark. Because of the lighting, I have natural lighting here, which is nice. So anyways, I forgot to put the other heater on, and it got pretty cold last night. So everything was really cold. The water, I think it got to 30 degrees yesterday, or 31 here in Georgia. So it got pretty cold, and I was worried because I have some seedlings here that I'm starting for my vegetable garden. So it got cold, so I hope they're okay. Are you guys familiar with the live chat? I'm trying to see here if there is any, if you want to just say hi, just for me to see if it works, because I have my PC here on my side in case you guys have any questions and I don't see anything. So I just wanted to know if that is working. Maybe I don't have it on the, let me see here. Let me change this to live chat. Okay. Oh, there's always a learning curve with technology. Okay. I'm really bad at multitasking too. So on my first pull, somebody asked me that the other days here on YouTube in one of my videos. What I do is I usually use these two fingers here down and then with my thumb. So I use pretty much one hand to do the first pull, and I usually pull a little taller. I'm being a little bit more cautious here because I'm live. But anyways, that's how I do it. I usually the first pull, because it's all the way down the clay, I pull like this. And with this hand, I use this little pinky to support the rim so that you can squeeze and pull pretty high while you're supporting right here. That's how I do the first pull. And then the rest I use the sponge. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I attempted to make homemade bread yesterday, and it came out okay. I'm not an expert on bread. I'm trying to get better at making bread. I don't use the sourdough. I just use the just regular yeast, the instant yeast. I actually found a good recipe for it that is, I think it's just called Easy Bread recipe. So another tip for porcelain is you try to throw fast, because I think I've said that many times before, porcelain absorbs water really fast. And so I'm throwing a little slower here today, but so I'm gonna try to go a little taller, because then I like to make the belly here on the outside, bulge this part out. That's how I like, that's just a preference. And then I'm gonna start using my metal ribs. And I like to flare the rim a little bit. So I see I have 3 viewers. Are you guys, can you tell me if you can hear me okay? I'm trying to test this out, but I can't see anything. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Can you guys hear me? So I think it's about the height that I want. I don't have, wanted to measure. Wish I don't know, it looks to be about 5 inches here, but this is gonna shrink a lot. So let me get my ribs. These are the 2 ribs that I use. So yeah, I'll start with the small one. I usually try to get 2 of the same, and I couldn't find my other rib of the same size. Yeah, it's a different one. So I'm using a small one and a bigger one this time. So I try to use it this way. And when I get over here that I want to flare out, I change the rib to the other side like this. So I hope you guys can see. Let me see if I can move just a little bit. And at this point, I'm removing all that slurry or the slip. See how much all that slip makes your porcelain be like weak. And then when I get to the rim here, I change it to this side so that it goes, I can flare that out. So I spend quite a bit of time on my pots afterwards. Like I can throw fairly quickly, and then what I like to do is make it so that I don't have to worry too much once it's off the bat, because I like for my pieces to be smooth. Depending on what I'm doing. So if I'm doing that technique cuerda seca, you want your walls to be pretty smooth for the painting, but depending of what I want to do. So if I'm sculpting, I guess it's the same thing. I do want my surface to be smooth. I usually remove the throwing marks. Just cleaning up a little bit the bottom. And then I'm gonna trim, as it is on the bat right now, I'm gonna trim a little bit that excess clay on the bottom here. And I like to use a tool like this one. That's the one I like to use on the bottom. I recycle a lot of my clay this way, whatever it comes out of my trimming. That's how I recycle, and then I use it for either to throw like test pots or like making handles or little sculptures. That's how I do it. I don't recycle the way a lot of other people do. Just because when I trim, I also trim while it's a little wet. So then I can just wedge my clay and goes right back into a little bag that I have, and that's my way of recycling my clay. I guess we each have a different way of recycling. I just don't like going through all that other work that you have to dry the clay, and this way seems to work for me. So trying to remove as much as I can from here. Just have to be careful. Oops. There, I think that's as much clay I'm gonna remove from the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm not a production potter, so for me it doesn't matter if all my mugs are a little bit different in size and shape a little bit. I don't mind that they're different. So the rim, all I do is I use a little piece of saran wrap to compress that rim a little bit. And now I'm just going to clean one more time this area right here. And what I do, as soon as this gets a little harder, I turn my cups upside down. And I do the same thing once I attach my the handles on my pieces. I turn them upside down because of the way the handle, the shape of the handle is. And that way I avoid like any separation cracks or anything like that. So I'm gonna throw another one. I still don't know if you guys can hear me. Yeah, I don't know. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? I see it. Finally, thank you. I thought I was talking here to myself and I didn't know if you guys could hear me. But like I said, I am going to get a new mic because I think it sounds much better. And it kind of blocks a little bit of the sounds, other sounds, but my heater, my space heater is really quiet. So I'm very happy with that. So this is one mug, and I think I have one more, but I don't know if this one, it seems like a smaller. Let me see what's the weight on this one. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, this one is only a pound, so, Sorry about my dog. I have two miniature schnauzers and they're great dogs. The only thing is that they bark at anybody walking by. They go nuts for the delivery guy, like Amazon. Just got here, can hear you fine here. Your dog just made my dog bark. Oh, that is funny. Yeah, I love miniature schnauzers. They're so loving. And mine right here, the white one is mine. Well, it's all our dog. It's me and my husband, my daughter. But Lulu is the black one. She's hers. But we all love both of them just the same. It's just that Morgan likes to be with me all the time. She just follows me around when I am in the studio in my garage. I have a little bed for her over there by the window, and she loves it. And she loves to get sun, because the sun comes in through that window, the morning sun, which faces a little bit of the east side. Here I am on the back of my house, so I get the afternoon, like the sunset is real pretty from here. But most of the day is like shaded from my sunroom here, but I still have good lighting. But yeah, if anybody is walking, oh man, they go nuts. They don't never bite or anything. If we have somebody coming in the house, we have to put them, in a separate room, and as soon as they leave, they just run to see who it was, or I think they're just protecting us. But so here's that pool that I said I do, but I guess I'm being a little shy this time. I usually pool much taller, but I think I'll get more comfortable as I do more lives. And if I fail, I just have to be comfortable with that. It's just clay, right? I think when you're doing live, you're always like more cautious. But the truth of the matter is that no one is perfect. Yesterday I was throwing a mug, and I hate when there is like air bubbles. And sometimes, I don't know if that happens. I haven't had that happen with other stoneware, but with porcelain, sometimes it has like little hard pieces inside of the clay. And I don't know if that's it's a bad batch, what it is or what causes that. But that is just as bad as having, or even worse, of having an air bubble in your clay, because it makes everything go just, you can't center, you can't, I was just having the hardest time, and I could feel it on my fingers as I pulled the walls. I could feel these harder spots. So, and it's not like an air bubble that you can poke it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Try to take out, that hard piece of clay in there? I don't know, but so I ended up trimming the top, and it became like a little test piece. It was just horrible. I just hate when that happens, but it happens, and it happens more with porcelain than any other clay, I guess. I don't know if you guys are familiar with frost. It's a beautiful translucent clay. It is one of the whitest clay that I've used, or porcelain, because even the other one that I used, the 365, which is an English porcelain, I believe. Even that one is it's not as white. It can be translucent if you make it real thin, but it's not as white. It's almost like an off-white color. But this one is a beautiful, beautiful clay, but it does have its trade-offs, because it is very finicky. Trying to go a little taller on this one. A lot of people have cracking issues with this one, so it's just a matter of getting used to and see what works with this porcelain. That's what I found, that by turning it upside down, you don't get the ass cracks. It likes to be very even and compressed. I use the 2 ribs to remove all the slurry as soon as I can. This one is a little on the skinnier side because it is less clay. So let me see if I can widen it a little more. Need to wet my hand because it is kind of narrow. It is getting pretty thin, the wall, so let me see if I can do it without having the whole thing collapse here before I start using the ribs. But yeah, I've been using this clay for a while now, so I kind of know some tricks that if I can share with other people, you might want to give this a try. But I'll say, if you never work with porcelain, this is not a good one to start with because you'll be disappointed in the beginning. I would say start with the 365. Yes, it is frost. Yeah, the English porcelain that I use also, that I really like, which is much more forgiving, is the standard 365. I'm just gonna widen this rim a little bit. I always say that for people who are not familiar with porcelain, start with 365 because it is a lot like B-Mix, Laguna B-Mix. It has that same, it's smooth, but it doesn't collapse as easy. Where are my ribs? I like to clean these out before I use them. Yeah, but I've been using frost mainly for mugs and smaller items that I make. For bigger, like fruit bowls and such, I like to use the 365. But the other days I tried making a large bowl. I have a video, it's a 6-pound one. That must be the largest bowl I've made with frost. And as you saw, it started to get wobbly real fast, and I had to use my torch. And then that helps a lot. It makes it, you can bring it back to center when it starts getting wobbly. I was able to remove the wobble completely, but I got lucky because I saw it right away. As soon as I started getting really wide, then I could see that wobble. I was like, oh, it's gonna collapse. And I grabbed my torch real quick and I was able to save it. But yeah, this clay is not user-friendly, but it is beautiful. So I was able to make this pretty tall with only a pound, and it is really thin, but I don't know if you can tell on the video, it is a little skinnier than the other one that I just made. And the main thing is try to get this lip as soon as you can, and that makes everything a little sturdier and is able to support itself. Let me see if I can remove these marks here. Again, it's just a personal choice. I do like mugs also that have the throwing mugs, but for what I do, because I decorate, I need to remove the throwing marks. But then I add some texture, so, but it's not that I don't like the throwing marks, it's just because of what I do afterwards. I need to have this as smooth as I can. because if you're painting a surface, it helps to be smooth. There's still slurry coming out. Ugh. You have to be careful using these ribs too. Sometimes it kind of nicks the clay inside, so you have to grab it, you know, make sure it's not gonna come off of your hands, because you know how the porcelain kind of tends to grab, even when you're trimming, it kind of grabs this clay, especially with this one, the Frost. It's not, like I said, even for throwing or trimming, it's not a friendly clay. I trim with a modified, I use the diamond core tools, but I learned to modify one of their blades that trims so that it comes to like a small round point, not a point, but rounded. But that works because it makes less contact with the clay. So the more contact with the clay you have when trimming with the porcelain, with this one in particular I'm talking about, the more friction it gets. So wider blade creates more friction and you really have a hard time trimming, where if you have a smaller little blade, then it doesn't grab as much and you remove the clay a lot easier. So this is the trimming tool that I modified. I don't know if you guys can see how it comes to a real, I modified this one. Here, looking against something white. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, that's the one I trimmed first with porcelain. So that's my hack. Where is that little? I always lose my tools. Yeah, I have a lot of their tools. These are great. They make one of the best trimming tools, and I use these a lot for all my trimming. But that one that I modified seemed to work the best, where I just made it, you know, you can bend a little, but it works. Just removing this a little bit and saving. I always save my scraps. I was trying to be careful here. I bought another little tool that I'll show you that I'm afraid to use because I have cut myself with it. It's so sharp, but it does work for this here. You see how I'm removing a lot of clay from the bottom. But I'll show you the one that I bought. Is this little guy here. You clean it a little bit. It's really sharp. The only thing that I dislike is that one tip goes one way and the other one goes the other way. If you don't hold it right, see, you can kind of pinch yourself right here on the wrist if you're holding the other one this way. So yeah, it's really tricky when you're trimming. So you can use this for trimming as well. Let me see if it is as good for just removing some of that excess clay here. I know a lot of people use the wooden tool, and that I use that also for the stoneware, but for the clay I need something sharper. That's as much as I'm gonna take right now. And The reason why I do that is to take some of the weight from the bottom part, because when I turn upside down, I want less stress on the rim. So I wanted this part to be a little lighter, because I think I mentioned that before, I do turn it upside down. As soon as this gets a little drier and a little stiffer, that can support the weight, I turn it upside down and let it dry further that way. But that's the process here. You just saw how I make my porcelain mugs. Now with stoneware, it's completely different. And I'm gonna be throwing some stoneware mugs tomorrow. And believe it or not, when you get used to one type of clay, when you change it, which I did, I think it was last year, I started mixing back on again. So I started out with stoneware. Then a few years ago, I think it's been like, I don't know, 6-7 years, where I started using just porcelain. I just fell in love with it. And then a couple years ago, I started using back the stoneware, because I miss it. I miss having all that different glaze, how the glazes look on stoneware, and texture and all that stuff. You get a different look. So I started back on, but I had the hardest time using stoneware again, because I'm so used to now throwing with porcelain. And I learned to throw quicker with porcelain, and then with stoneware, I tried that a few times and it collapsed. It just, I guess, you know, I was so, I guess I got better and better on porcelain, that when going back to stoneware was more difficult. It's weird, but that's what happened. But now I know that I need to slow down a little bit when I go into stoneware. So, and those are the two last mugs I had. Thank you so much for all your comments and mud chat. Thank you. And I will be doing more now that I can see the live chat on my computer here, which is great. I guess I'll be taking you guys along how I alter and do different things, because throwing the mugs and throwing bowls and other things is just, for me, it's just the beginning. I like to do a lot more to it. So I would throw a lot of pieces in one day, and then the next day I'll be trimming, and then probably later today I can trim and start sculpting and adding some sprigs that I did. I have the video of the sprig molds, how I made them and how I'm gonna use them on the mug. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.